Hi again, guys. So this is the writing task 2 walkthrough. And basically, I want to go over some tips, some strategies for increasing your band, achieving higher band answers, and some effective ways in which we can do that. Because a lot of you have very good English, you're talking to me on the lives, and it seems like you're kind of, band 6, band 7. But I want to focus on some good strategies today that will increase your mark and allow you to score band 8, band 9 in the writing task 2, which is the larger essay component of the writing exam. So it's in quite a formal academic style, unlike maybe your writing task 1. I mean, if you're doing the general IELTS exam, that will be in the style of a letter, so slightly different style. But writing task 2, very formal, very academic. You're giving your opinion, your argument. And so today I thought we would talk about something that I find particularly interesting to talk about, and that's social media and kind of how good it is for society, how bad it is. And I feel like this is the kind of thing you're going to be asked in your IELTS exam. These kind of social issues, these problems with society, I think you're going to be asked about. And so I'm just going to give a little bit more of an overview just while I wait for some more people to join the call. But yeah, you're going to be only really writing for about 40 minutes for this question. And you typically want to write about 250 words. If you write any less than that, you're kind of limiting your potential in terms of bands. And, you're not really going to be achieving band 6+, which is kind of the level that a lot of universities and institutions will look for when they're assessing how well you did in your IELTS exam. And so I just want to, before I begin talking about the question and how we might answer it, I just wanted to begin by talking a bit about the marking criteria, because although it might seem a little bit boring, if you know the marking criteria and you know what the examiners are looking for, you're really going to be able to adapt your responses to what they want. And so the first one is task response. And that is basically how well you answer the question. So, are you assessing whether social media is good or bad, or are you just saying a lot of stuff that's not so relevant to the question? Coherence and cohesion, that's the next thing you want to make sure you're doing well on. And that's basically how clear your argument is. So do your ideas make sense? Do they flow? Do they link with each other well? Vocabulary, it's quite an obvious one. How many words do you know? How effectively can you use them? Are you using them correctly? Grammar, of course, another one we have to be aware of. So, are we using lots of complex phrases, complex clauses, compound clauses, or are we being quite basic with our grammar? Because that would limit our level. And they're all equally weighted, you might notice. So, they're all 25%. If you're going to achieve highly, you have to do all of them quite well. If you achieve band 9, you have to really, really do well on all of these. But I think if you follow the strategies we discuss in today's lesson, I don't think there's any reason why you wouldn't be able to achieve, band 7+ quite relatively easily, if you just learn the kind of things that the examiners are looking for and what they want from your answer. So onto the question I've picked for today. So we've got the marking, boring stuff out the way. onto the question I want to talk about with you guys. And hopefully you guys can join the call with me. You can comment, you can write down below your answers. I'll give you some feedback. So yeah, the question for today is, recently people have started to suggest that social media may be problematic in ways that we previously had not considered. So I'm actually going to go ahead and write this in the chat for you guys so you can all see it while I'm talking through how I've answered it. So for this one, you're going to want to be talking obviously about, ways in which social media could be a negative for us. And there's lots of reasons you might think on the top of your head. A lot of people, for example, say that social media can cause mental health problems, and it's quite an unnatural way of socializing with each other. So this is obviously things you can consider before you write your exam. And in writing task 2, it's quite a typical format these questions follow. It's usually a for and against kind of argument. So in this question, there's a lot of words here, but really all they're asking is social media good? Is social media bad? And so I think narrowing the question down into its bare bones like that, I think is a really effective way of beginning to plan your answer and beginning to tackle the question. So I'm just going to write this in the chat. To what extent do you agree with this assertion? And if you guys want to just, comment anything, you might want to comment your introduction, some ideas for why social media is bad, or if you think it's good, that's also great, because you have to have quite a balanced argument for writing task 2. You don't, even if you think social media is amazing, you want to have some kind of counter argument. So you want to say, reasons why it may not be so good, reasons why it is good. And then in your conclusion, you can kind of argue your main, belief, whether you think it's good or bad. And so, I want everyone to be aware that this is the kind of question you might be asked in your writing task 2. These social issues like social media, something we all know about. And, we're going to have lots of things to say about, surely. So yeah, like I said, if anyone's just joining the call, please leave a comment, or you can even join the Zoom call with me at any point you want. Not Zoom call, sorry, Facebook Live. You can join with me at any point you want, and we can just kind of have a conversation. You can improve your speaking, also your listening, by listening to a native speaker who has maybe a little bit of an accent. So it's good to have a range of accents, understanding of different types of pronunciation, because, if you guys are in Bangladesh, your parents may speak fluent, great English, but just the fact that they're non-native and I'm native, it gives a different kind of view of the English language. And so Munmun says, hi, Dan, how are you? I'm great. Good to see you back on the stream. We're going to be talking about writing task 2 today, and just talking about ways in which you can elevate your grade from, band 6, band 7 to band 8 and band 9. I mean, for example, guys, if I was to sit the test without knowing what IELTS was, even as a native speaker, I think it's quite likely I would only achieve maybe band 7, band 8, because if you know the format and the rubric, as we say, of how to answer the questions, you can score much higher. So now I understand how to answer these questions. As a native speaker, I would, be achieving a higher band now. And there's no reason why you guys also can't do that. So first of all, you're going to want to plan your answer. Don't just start writing straight away. There's always somebody in exams that's writing straight away. They've wrote maybe 3 or 4 pages. They're asking someone for more paper. And, you're sat there like, I should have been writing as much as them. But often that's not really the case, because if you spend 5 minutes just planning your answer out, you're really going to help yourself. And so what I've said here is we are supposed to strip the question down to its bare bones. Now, this is a very kind of idiomatic English expression. And it basically just means to, peel back the layers of the question, get rid of all the kind of rubbish around it, and find out what is it actually asking you. So our question is, recently people have started blah, 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 all these complex words. It's really just asking you, is social media good or is social media bad? And so if we are to strip the question down to its bare bones, I would say, okay, I need to increase the font size. Yeah, of course, I can do that. Yeah, guys, let me know if you can't see anything. I understand different connection speeds, etc. So I'll increase the font size so you guys can see. I will be putting a link to the presentation as well, so you guys can get it up alongside me as well. I think that might be quite helpful. And I'll do that in a little bit when we've had a few more people joining. So yeah, as well, you're kind of learning a phrasal verb here, this notion of stripping something down, getting it into its most simple form. Perfect, Mum, that's great. So also don't waffle. Now, this again is a very idiomatic English expression. I mean, waffle is about, I think it's a type of food. But in English, we use that to talk about essay writing. So if someone is waffling a lot, they are not answering the question and they're just talking a load of nonsense that's not related to the question. So don't waffle. That is my definite advice. Try link back to the question. So we're talking about good points and bad points about social media. So don't talk about anything else. Don't talk about the internet generally. Talk about social media and talk about why it's good, why it's bad, your opinion on it, linking phrases, all this stuff. Don't use your words for no reason. Don't just try show off to the examiner everything you know. Like, you might have revised food particularly before the exam. You get in the exam and you see social medias come up and you're like, oh no, I've got to, get all my food vocab in somehow. Don't do that, guys. Try keep on the topic. Try make sure you're answering the question properly, because you'll achieve highly in task response. I'll just make those a little bit bigger for you guys. So you'll achieve highly in task response because, so Mumman says, does waffle mean talking out of topic? Exactly, that's exactly what it means. It's a weird word, I mean, even for a native speaker. So it's a type of food. I mean, a waffle, you have like waffle and pancakes. So I have no idea why we use it in this way. But yeah, it basically means when you're just not answering the question, you're just, kind of talking about things that are irrelevant to the task at hand. And if you want to score highly on task response, you have to answer the question. It's quite crucial thing that they're looking for. I mean, it's literally 25% of your marks. So aside from your language, aside from your vocabulary and your grammar, just how well you answer the question and how well you just talk about social media, that accounts for 1/4 of your marks. So here's like an example of a plan you might do. I understand you guys might not be able to see what I've written, but that's fine because I'd like you guys to kind of give your own points about why social media is good or bad. And, you can do that in the comments section. Let me know what you think. But this is kind of an example of what I might do in the exam. So guys, this literally took me, I think, maybe 3-4 minutes. And I just wrote in a little column, I've got a good section, I've got a bad section, a little table. And I've just wrote kind of 3 points for each. And so I've got some stuff to talk about when I'm writing. And if you do that before you start writing in the exam, you can just cross it out afterwards, which I've done here, just to let your examiner know, not to look at that. And but yeah, it's your plan, your guide. And so if you're getting a bit stressed out in the exam, you're like, oh, I don't know what else to write. You can consult your plan and say, oh, okay, that's one really good point. And then you can just keep writing, because if you're trying to plan your answers and think of new things as you're already writing, you're setting yourself up for failure, guys, because you're not going to be, really involved in actually crafting some nice language. You're going to be thinking about, oh, I can't think of anything else about social media. So do it first before you begin writing, and you can just regularly consult it during your exam. And so you've always got that little thing to rely on and fall back on, because you've prepared yourself for your answer. And yeah, guys, if you've got any points about social media, I'd love to hear that. So if you think social media is amazing, I want to know why. If you think it's the devil, I want to know why as well. And so, yeah, just give me a sense of what your guys' opinions are about social media. You can join the call with me and talk about it as well. And yeah, I think there'll be some time for that at the end. If anyone wants to join in, we can talk about it. I mean, obviously, this is the writing task. So maybe it would be good if you guys could write your responses in the comments. But yeah, strip the question down to its bare bones and don't waffle. So hopefully you've learned some new phrases there as well. So in terms of the introduction, guys, there's quite a clear structure to it, or a clear structure in how you might achieve a high band. So the first thing you want to do is rephrase the question. So the question here is, recently, people have started to suggest that social media may be problematic in ways that we previously had not considered. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see it. And this is my rephrasing of this question. So over recent years, I've adapted recently here to over recent years. As a society, we have started to understand the potential negative implications of social media, or social media use, we could say. And, I've used some good vocabulary here, some quite large words, and I've really just kind of explained the question out, but probably in a better way than the question has, really, because I've used some, better kinds of vocabulary, some more high level vocabulary, you might say, higher band vocabulary. If you use the phrase potential negative implications, I think your examiner would be giving a little tick in the vocabulary section, and he would be thinking, okay, this person knows their vocabulary, they've understood the question, and they've rephrased it back in a way that's actually probably higher level than the question. And so, yeah, your first sentence, rephrase the question, kind of, get a sense of what you're going to talk about, rephrase the question. It's good for you to do this as well, because it reinforces what you're going to be talking about. So Munman says, social media makes life frustrating. I would probably agree. I think it's quite unnatural way of socializing with people. I mean, we're human beings. If you go back, 1,000 years, we'd never be using social media or things like this. And you see often it leads people to kind of mental health problems and they get really stressed out. You know, why has this girl got more likes than me? Why do they have such a great life compared to me? But I think people often they put like the best things about their life on social media, and you're never going to see the bad points. So if you're going through a bad time yourself, you're going to see people posting, you know, their wedding, their new dog, their new house, but they might have their own issues that aren't talked about on social media. So for me, social media is quite kind of fake in a way, but there's obviously benefits to it. I mean, I wouldn't be able to speak to you guys right now without social media because we're literally on Facebook. So there's obviously benefits of it as well. I'm not going to say it's completely bad. It spreads hearsay faster. Yeah, that's definitely true. So hearsay, I guess you mean like gossip. Hearsay, quite an old-fashioned word now. Like, it took me a second to understand what you meant. It's a good word. It's quite old-fashioned though. You know, if you're talking to your friends in England, just use the word gossip. People understand you a bit better. But hearsay, definitely a good word to use. Probably more like a written kind of essay word. Rumor, yeah, rumors, gossip. Hearsay is more than fine. I'm not saying it's wrong. You know, you can use it fine. It's just quite old-fashioned. It's something that we probably wouldn't say to our friends, if you understand me. You know, we would say, oh, she's spreading gossip, you know, rumors. Yeah. So yeah, my opinions on social media are quite mixed. Aside from my job at MPub, I tend to not use social media too much. I feel like it's something that you can get a little bit consumed by, and it's not the most kind of positive thing for your life. You know, I'd rather be exercising or doing something a little bit better. But, you know, I understand a lot of people love it, and, you know, it depends on your personal preference, what you get out of it. For me personally, I feel like it can be quite damaging. And I've seen, you know, I've had like, you know, lots of kind of female friends that have had just lots of problems with it, male friends as well. But, you know, people that just really kind of find themselves immersed in social media a lot. But yeah, anyway, moving on, you want to rephrase the question in your own words, use some nice vocabulary, start off your argument nicely. So moving on, after this sentence, your first sentence, you're going to want to outline your argument in the next sentence. And so to outline your argument, I will make this bigger for you guys again, just to make sure you can all see it. Right, make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Oh, that is not how you do it. Bear with me, guys. Right, hopefully you guys can see that okay. But yeah, this is my answer. And basically, you're going to want to use these phrases like this in this paper because it gives a very academic tone. If you read kind of research papers, more, you know, PhD papers, published academic works, you'll find this phrase in it a lot. You know, if you're setting up your argument, you say, in this paper, I wish to do this. I wish to outline these issues while also highlighting the virtues of social media. I will then be able to assert whether social media is harmful or beneficial for society. So I think this is obviously just a good structure of answering the questions. If you have this in your head and you know, okay, my introduction, I rephrase the question, I outline my argument, that will really set you up for success. And it's good just for your own benefit to kind of really instill within you what you're going to be writing about. So yeah, this is my intro. all together then. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys just so we can all see it. So I think, this is it both all put together. So over recent years, as a society, we have started to understand the potential negative implications of social media. As I've rephrased it, in this paper, I wish to outline these issues while also highlighting the virtues of social media. So I've offered this sense of, okay, there's going to be some arguments for social media being good. There's going to be some arguments for social media being bad. And then in our conclusions, I'm going to say, I will then be able to assert whether social media is harmful or beneficial. So Imran, welcome to the stream. He says, hi, sir. Feel so happy to take your lesson. My question is, how many sentences should we write in the intro? So, yeah, I mean, there's no rule on it. I would say a good general kind of rule would be three sentences, I think, is enough to say everything you need to. You don't want to say stuff in your intro that you could have said later on in your paragraphs, because then you're making life harder for yourself because you won't have stuff to talk about. Keep it simple, keep it concise, accurate. Rephrase the question in your first sentence. Give an overview of what you're going to talk about in your second sentence. So in this paper, I wish to outline these issues. And then say, what you're kind of going to conclude with. I will then be able to assert whether social media is harmful. So I would say it might vary essay to essay. There's no set rule in stone, as we say. 3 sentences. I wouldn't go above 4 sentences. I think there's no question that you need to write over 4 sentences. I think that's a bit excessive. I would say 3 to 4 is a good kind of general rule. So we've outlined our argument. We've already done this. We've given some ways in which our argument can progress throughout our essay. And here is how we might do the next paragraph. So we could say, start off with some linking words, link our ideas together. So we could say, personally, I believe that. Firstly, we could suggest that. And here's where we can look at our plan. And, here's my plan right here. So I'm going to consult my plan. And we could say, so I've got written down here in the bad column. You can start off with the good or the bad. I mean, I would probably start off with the argument that you don't agree with the most. So by that, I mean, if you think social media is really bad, I would probably start with the good points about social media. And then in your second paragraph, you can say, conversely, a lot of people think social media is bad because of this. And then in your conclusion, you can say, so it's clear to me, social media can be really negative. And I think that's just a good way of phrasing it, because if I think social media is really bad, why would I say it's bad first and then say it's good in my second paragraph? And then in my conclusion say, no, wait, it's actually bad. I think you need to make sure your essay flows quite nicely like that. So if I'm going to argue that social media is quite damaging to society, I'm going to start with some good points first, actually. So some good points I can argue is, personally, I believe that social media lets us communicate with people around the world. I couldn't talk to all you guys, and I couldn't have this live interaction with you guys, which I know is so helpful for improving your English. I couldn't do that without this platform, without social media. And so it's obviously got some practical uses, of course, it allows our society to function in a lot more of an inclusive kind of way. We can talk to people from any different country. And obviously, I'm saying this to you guys right now with my speech. So it's a bit more informal, the language I'm using. But if you were to write this in an exam, you'd obviously want to be quite considered, precise, accurate, pre-rehearsed. And so, guys, use the peel technique. I talked about it on the live stream yesterday, but this technique is just so effective at answering questions. I'm just quickly going to link you guys to my other presentation about peel, the peel technique, because it's so effective at structuring your arguments and allowing you to just be able to get your point across effectively and link back to the question as well. So I'm just quickly going to share the other presentation on peel for you guys if you haven't seen it already. I know some of you might have seen it, but this is just the most useful technique for answering the questions properly. So first of all, we have, this is writing task 2, another question. We have our point. So our point is, what are we trying to say? What, in social media's case, we might say, okay, what's bad about social media? The fact that people can put so much weight on it and it leads to anxiety, mental health problems. So that could be our first point. We would then want to give some evidence for the point. We then want to explain the point a bit more. So in this example, I've said, this is talking about football hooliganism. And in this example, I've given my point. I've given some evidence for why I'm saying the point. I've then explained the point in a bit more detail. I've said Cox was left disfigured following the incident, and that means that football and sporting events sometimes aren't that safe for people. And then I've then linked it back to the question, which is about if sporting events are safe, basically. And I've linked it back to the question. I said, showing that we must question the notion of whether sporting events are safe, basically. So in this way, I've done the peel technique: point, evidence, explain, link. This is how you structure an argument. If you're doing these 4 things, you're giving an argument, If you're debating with somebody, and that's really what you're doing in your writing, you're kind of debating with yourself. And if you're debating with someone, you can't just say a point and give no evidence for it, You have to give some evidence, back up your point, explain it in a bit more detail, and then link it back to the question and say, why are you saying this? What's the point of you saying this? Tie it in with the question. Your examiner will see this and definitely be impressed and give you a high score for your task response. And so I'm just going to go back to the other presentation again now. But if you understand the peel technique, I think you'll really, really improve the quality of your arguments and your ability to argue points forward. And so, of course, another really effective tip is use linking phrases, guys. You really need to. If you want to hit band 7+, you have to be using these. And they're just words you have to learn, They're no different from any other word, really. So you just have to know a few of them. And, we've had some specific classes on linking phrases throughout some of the videos we've got on our page. So definitely go watch the last live stream if you want to know a little bit more about linking phrases. I'll also be covering them in some more detail at another time. But these are probably some of the most important parts of vocabulary you need to know for a written exam, because they really just help you create the sense of flow in your argument and linking your ideas together, hence the name linking phrases, So on to the next paragraph. So you have 2 paragraphs here, guys. You could maybe do 3 paragraphs, but I would stick to 2. I think you can say all you need to say with 2. You can do your points for why social media is good, your points for why social media is bad, and then you can go on to your conclusion. So again, in your supporting paragraph, all that's really going to be different in terms of the linking words is you're now using linking phrases that, contradict your previous point or go against your previous point. So whereas here we're saying, personally, firstly, we're now saying conversely, alternatively, on the other hand, giving a sense of balance to our argument and letting us structure our argument in an effective way so the examiner can see, okay, this is what they think about social media being good, this is what they think about it being bad. And guys, if you want to take part in the stream, that'd be great. If any of you feel confident, you can write some responses you might write towards social media being good or bad. Write an introduction for me. So I've put the question we're dealing with in the chat. And if you guys want to maybe read this question and rephrase it in your own words in a similar way to how I did it, then that would be great. I could also give you some feedback, as we go. And I think that could be helpful. I could tell you what band I think you're in currently and, what band you should be aiming for, because I think we all should be aiming for band 7+. I think, especially on the writing exam, this is a chance to really pick up some easy marks, because the writing exam is really all about how well you've prepared. Do you know your linking phrases? Do you know your phrasal verbs? If you're aiming for the really high bands with, idiomatic expressions, do you structure your questions, your answers, in the way that the examiner kind of wants? So Imran asks, is there any way that if we write an essay that is assessed by you on the basis of the IELTS exam, it's very helpful for us to understand our weakness in writing? So if we don't have enough information about the topic, then what kind of trick should we use? So guys, you're not being assessed on how much you know about social media or food or, the current political climate in wherever. They're not assessing you on that. They're assessing you on your use of language. And so, if you don't have enough information, it's something you can kind of elaborate on your points. Just make sure you're using good vocabulary, good grammar, and you're answering the question to the best of your ability. Make sure you plan beforehand. Try get at least 3 points for why social media is good, 3 points for why it's bad. But they're not trying to trick you out. They're not trying to, interrogate you about everything you know about social media. There's so much research done into social media. I'm sure, there's nothing we're all going to say that's going to be really revelationary or really amazing. It's just some basic things. It's just a thing to talk about. They've picked this thing for you to talk about, and you just have to talk about it in the best way you can. Show off your language, your use of English. So, really, it's not about how much you know about social media, okay? I'm sure, we all use social media. We can all think of a couple of things for why it's good, for why it's bad. I guess a certain element of it is thinking on the spot. But really, there are common topics they use time and time again. And you can revise them, revise the vocabulary around them, like, kind of health and society, governmental issues, political issues, perhaps, these education as well. I think a question we did yesterday was whether sports should be made compulsory in university. And, these kinds of things, you should be able to think on top of your head, just a couple of things for each one. Nobody wants you to kind of, be a rocket scientist for the day or something. They want you to just explain what you know in a kind of concise, effective way with your language. That's definitely more important than if you can crack the code on social media being, good or bad. These are just general topics for you to show off your use of language. And so moving on, with paragraph 2, you're going to want to use the peel technique again. So effective at structuring an argument. I learned this technique, I think, when I was about maybe 10 years old, because we just teach it in English schools a lot. But I still use it to this day. I used it for my undergraduate degree. I'm constantly thinking about this peel thing. I'm saying, okay, this is my point, some evidence, explain it a bit more, and then link it back to the question. And this way, you're making sure that you're going to score highly on task response. And your examiner is going to really bump you up in that category and elevate your grade. So onto the conclusion part of the essay. Cheers for the questions, Imran. If you've got any more, feel free to let me know. Also, if you want to join the stream, definitely let me know, because it's just really going to improve your English, guys, if you're talking to me and having this back and forth dialogue. And also, I'm interested to know where you guys are all from, what my kind of audience is, what you'd like to see on the page. So definitely, after I've just done this conclusion bit, if someone wants to join in, hop on the call, that'd be great. So the conclusion, I think a lot of people struggle with the conclusion. I used to find writing conclusions so difficult because I feel like, you've said everything in your essay already. Obviously, you're not going to have missed things out. So what is there left to say in your conclusion? It's something that I think you can get a bit stuck on. But basically, a good conclusion does just that. It reaches a good conclusion. It reaches a conclusion. So you've said your points on why social media is good. You said on why it's bad. Now, what do you really think? Do you think, judging from the things you've said, it's bad? Well, say it then. Say, having considered all the relevant arguments, I feel that social media is becoming a problem for our society. Mental health problems are, such a big issue now. We understand mental health a lot more. And it seems like social media really causes problems for people in terms of like anxiety and these issues, because people compare themselves with people with these, amazing lives. I mean, I see like fitness influencers pop up on my social media every day, and they're, in Dubai, they're 19 years old, they're in Dubai, they've got, 5 million in the bank. And, it can be hard sometimes, I think, to not compare yourself to that. And I think that's where kind of a lot of the kind of negative effects of social media lie. So Imran says, yes, sir, it will be a pleasure for me if I can talk with you. So brilliant. That's great. So what I'm going to do, Imran, is I'm going to copy the link to the stream, and I'm going to put it in the chat now. And I think if you just click on that, you can get in a little box underneath the slides, and then I can add you to the stream and we can have a general chat. I'm not going to be too formal. I don't think at the moment. I'm not going to interrogate you or, I think I'm just going to get to know you guys, find out some stuff about you. I love learning about different cultures. That's definitely something that's a bit of a passion for me. Understanding, how different people live their lives in such far away places. And so that would be brilliant. So yeah, if you can join the chat, Imran, that'd be great. Applies to anybody else as well. Even if you've already joined previously, I'd love to see you again and we can talk about something a bit different. So yeah, in your conclusion, just don't repeat your points. Like, it's so easy to just kind of say all your arguments again. Don't do that, because you've already done it. There's no need. You don't have to say all your stuff again. You're just wasting your time, wasting your words. Maybe give a kind of very brief overview of, why you think social media is bad. So for me, I think social media is good for society in that, obviously, I'm talking to you guys right now in all these different places, and that's obviously a big virtue of the internet in general. But I think there's so many problems with social media, and I just really think it's so sad when you see, all these kinds of people putting so much weight on it, comparing themselves to other people. And I think that's quite a damaging kind of belief that you should compare yourself to other people. I think you should always compare yourself to your previous self, not other people. But social media seems to encourage that direct comparison to other people. Just the whole notion of likes. I mean, if it's just kind of ridiculous. It's like a kind of never-ending high school popularity contest. And so that's one thing I don't like about it. But I'd love to hear you guys' opinions, especially if you really like social media, because I'm always open to have my opinion changed. And so, if you're someone that gets loads of likes on social media, how do you find that kind of beneficial for you, etc. And so I'd love to hear about that. So Imran, I sent you the link. If you want to join now, that would be great. If you can't join, that's also fine. I understand, it can be a bit nerve-wracking coming on camera for people. But all you guys who've come on camera so far have been great, who I've spoke to. And yeah, I think we've had some good conversations. We've learned a bit about each other, a bit about our different cultures. And so, yeah, if anyone wants to join, that'd be brilliant. So Imran's joined. I'll add him in a second. My coffee's gone all cold. That's a bit disgusting. Right, let's add Imran in. So we're going to talk about, I'm just going to ask you some general questions, Imran. I'm not going to, interrogate you too much. I think after I've asked you some general questions, I might ask you about your views on social media. But yeah, I'm going to add you to the call. So, hello, can you hear me okay?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Cheers. I'm great. It's a sunny day in England, so I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling good. What about you?
Quite good, but not very good, especially in the pandemic time. It was a little bit difficult right now in our country.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of a not very much sunny day in our country, but it's a little bit rainy, but not that much heavy.
Sweet.
But thank you very much, because this is my first time to speak with somebody who's like a native speaker.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you, mate. I mean, it definitely takes a bit of courage, a bit of confidence coming on camera. So I definitely appreciate it. Whereabouts are you from then?
Actually, I'm from Bangladesh. And
sweet.
now I'm doing undergraduate program, one of the private university in our country is called North South University. And yeah, so I'm doing electric and electronics engineering. So yeah, so that's all about me.
So how did the pandemic in Bangladesh differ from here? Because the UK government has kind of tried to open stuff back up a few times. But every time they try to, everyone gets COVID again, and they just shut it down again after a couple of weeks. So I think on July the 19th, I think we tried to open everything back up again. But
here is a little bit, it's different from UK. It's not like that much developed. Like, if I talk about from the health sector, it's not that much developed. But, here is the pandemic. It's not that much very happy. People not very much aware about that. So it's come like probably 1 month before, or like 2 months before, it was a little bit, people actually bit concerned about that, because a lot of people actually I mean, the last 1 week or 2 week, it's a very difficult time for the people. But before that, because most of the people in our country are a bit physical labor, so normally they
Sure.
have a really strong immune system. So that's kind of, that's the kind of impression we normally listen from our, from our special people. So that's not very much damage happened, especially in the early time, of course, when it's the pandemic started. But right now, it's a little difficult when Delta virus coming from the India. It's a kind of things people are talking about that.
Mhm.
So it's right now a little bit difficult, especially in the rural area. These people are not that much very aware and concerned, and it's very difficult for the people. Like, we are densely populated country, so, and very much family oriented country. So it's a little bit difficult for them
Yeah,
to actually separate from their family for a long period of time.
definitely. I think, if you're such a hard working way of life, having that kind of taken away from you is just such a difficult thing to deal with, because you've
Yeah.
suddenly got to you're forced to live your life in such a different way that you don't want
And,
to.
and right now, for a student, it's a little bit hard. For a student, it's a very hard time because of,
Definitely.
like, more than 1 year, we even not see my friends, teachers, and especially like
Oh,
in education,
yeah.
especially like where we need. I mean, in every class we need a lab, and we have to do, especially in the online, and it's a
Yeah.
little bit hard for us now. I'm in the last phase of my university time, so
Mhm.
normally, especially we in end of the time, normally we, it's a little bit down pressure, education pressure is a little bit
Yeah,
down.
of
I
course.
normally try to enjoy our this time, but yeah, right now it's a little difficult time, more than 1 year, or
It's tough.
education
It's
completely
tough.
closed.
For
Yeah,
sure. I mean, we keep thinking it's going to end. Like, we keep saying it's going to end, and it just keeps going on. And for me, in my degree, so I did English language. So
okay,
it's it's not. I mean, it's a great degree. I enjoyed it, but it's not something that needs like labs and stuff like this,
yeah,
because I really felt for people who were doing like biochemistry and stuff like this, where you need actual like labs and research and all this. And so if you're doing that from your bedroom, it's just so difficult. But for English language, I kind of just got through it, but it's definitely difficult, not talking to teachers, not talking to your classmates as well is really strange.
yeah.
But, hopefully it's over soon. Hopefully next academic year is a bit more normal.
Like, for last couple, I mean, I'm trying to doing a couple of research work with my teachers, but
Sure.
I face especially the problem, like especially like in the research paper, they use a little bit of long sentences. So
Mm,
when I try to like summarize the meaning of the sentence, then I can't actually, I started to I started to start the sentence from beginning, and when I
yeah.
end the sentence, I was like, what's what is going to
Yeah.
happen? I mean, I was really confused, and there is a, like, especially in the research paper, they use some words which is a little bit difficult, like a very old word, and I try to, like, overcome with that space. It's right now it's a very hard for me to actually integrate, and then couple of, I mean, this is. I mean, this is the first time I'm talking with somebody who is a native speaker, so
Yeah.
it's a, yeah. I mean, it's I don't know how to explain. I mean, I was a little bit nervous also, and also
No,
like,
I mean, your English is really good. Like, you seem, you've got a good grasp of it. You're not pausing or hesitating. So, you seem like you've got a really good grasp of English anyway. But yeah, I definitely feel like speaking to native speakers just improves it more, because, this is how an actual guy from England uses language. It's a
yeah,
bit different than how you might learn it in Bangladesh. I mean, I use so many, like when I'm doing these lessons, I always have to try be aware of like the very informal phrases that I use all the time. But
yeah,
some of you guys might not just be aware of them, because it's just like very specific stuff to England. Like, for example, I don't know if you watched before, this idea of waffling in your essays.
Yeah.
And it means talking nonsense, but to someone who's not native, it would seem ridiculous.
So I still remember one incident that was happened with me, especially it's called Toastmaster. It's kind of so that was happened probably 1 or 2 years ago, and we have an actually English teachers from also USA. So he told me let's come and try to speak. It's called an probably impromptu speech, like you go and pick up the subject and speak. And
Yeah,
like I was shivering with all my body. I was like, wow, oh my god, I'm not sure. Okay, what should I
yeah.
say?
I know
And
it's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, to be honest, it's hard enough. You're being put on the spot about what you think
yeah,
about these random things like social media. I mean, it's hard enough in your native language, but it is definitely difficult. But it's
yeah.
something you can learn for the exam. You can just learn that kind of technique of doing it, and you can definitely achieve higher bands if you just kind of know what you're doing. You prepare properly. So Abda has joined the stream. If he you can get your camera on, or if you just want to use your mic, that's cool. I can bring you in as well, and we can have um, group conversation.
Okay,
Um,
yeah, of course.
yeah,
I don't
sweet.
have a problem.
I think
Okay.
he's I think he's struggling a little bit with his connection, so we can just keep talking about social media. But
Should I have to turn off my camera or something like that?
no, that's fine. It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
I think hopefully he can join in. I'll just wait until he can give me the thumbs up, basically. But I wanted to kind of ask you about your opinions about social media then, and like what are the kind of general opinions that your country has about it? Because I know in the UK, like I feel like younger people use it a lot, but older people I feel like are starting to understand that it can be just kind of a waste of time in some ways. Which is probably not great for me to say because we're on Facebook, but it's just your opinion, obviously. So yeah, what's your opinion about it, and what's your country's general opinion about it as well?
I think it's a kind of mixer. Uh, okay, so somebody actually connected.
Yeah, I've pulled him in just because we can have a group discussion. Give me
Okay.
your answer first, and then I'll try ask him as well. I'll see what he thinks.
Okay, since it's a kind of new technology, in terms of the older people, they're not very much. You, in our community, it's not that it's popular probably in the kids and younger generation, but it's not very much popular in older generation. But if you ask me about about whether I like it or not, I think probably I don't like this much very much, because of it's actually take a lot of time, and people are mostly they not doing that much important things, and also
Yeah.
it's the anxiety. Sometimes when you talk with
Mhm.
somebody, you probably don't know him, or like for a conversation you had a good I mean probably as a good bonding ship or something like happen, then you even don't know, probably see the profile pictures and talking with them. If it's not face-to-face conversation with the especially in the human being, that's I think a little bit give anxiety. So I'm
Yeah.
not very much supportive, especially in the social media. And there's a lot of negativity, which is, you know, which I don't like it. And yeah, that's I personally think about the social media.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, one thing I think about that as well, it's like when I was at school, I remember that um, you would kind of add people on social media that you've never spoken to before, and then you would like speak to them over social media first, like, and you might say loads to them, and you meet them in person, and you're like, we don't actually have that much in common. So it's like, it's strange. I mean, you can talk to people loads over social media, and then you meet them in real life and you've run out of things to say. And it's kind of awkward because it's like the first time meeting them, but then it's also not really. And so I always found that really awkward about it. But I don't know if I don't know if that's just me being weird, or if other people felt that as well. But definitely, I feel like your answer is really good. You gave a lot of kind of descriptive info on, you backed your point up, you kind of did the peel technique really, which I was talking about before, backed your point up, gave some more opinions. So Kandika says, can I join with you? Yes, of course you can. I'll just put the link in the chat again. And yeah, we can have a group conversation. What I thought might be fun to do is, Imran, you really don't like, I mean, you don't like social media up to a point. But I thought what might be fun is if you could try argue your point to someone else who joins the call, and they can try argue the opposite point, if you know what I mean. So hopefully Kandika can join and we can try do that. But yeah, I think you gave a good definite. You got a good range of vocab. Your spoken English is really good. Have you Imran? Have you tried practicing the writing tasks as well? Like, have you tried?
Especially in the writing test, normally I'm very worse on writing.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably because of especially the way we learn in our country. Basically, we are very much focused, especially in the grammatical tactics. If you have a problem with the grammatical tactics, then whatever you're writing is just, for the teacher perspective, it's just garbage. So like we are very much focused on the grammatical aspect of the writing, but and also the vocabulary, the way. And right now, linking phrase, I used to use this kind of a linking phrase or something like very after very after. But we started to learn English very early age of our life, because English is a kind of a second language to us. Most of the people, especially in the corporate business and everywhere, like there is no other option without in English. So it's a kind of very difficult. If you want to be like a good job person, or if you want to be doing a good job, then you need to speak
English.
Well,
I understand.
It's a little difficult for us, like especially when we have to write kind of like different letter application for teachers. The structure, the kind of sentence structure they want from us.
Yeah, I mean, you've got really good spoken English, and that's brilliant. The writing exams, it's just a different kind of format, isn't it? It's being a bit more academic. You have to be very precise with your language. So it's just a different skill you need to learn. Like, grammar is not the most fun part of learning a language, I'll be honest with you.
That's exactly correct. I mean,
yeah.
Oh my God!
It's not that fun learning where you put all the words. I mean, as long as you can use them, that's fine in spoken language.
I mean, the amount of rules we have to memorize, like, oh my God, like I have
in
two or three just paper with rules and regulation.
Yeah,
how to structure.
English is so irregular as well. There's so many different things you just have to learn. But that just comes with practice, comes with learning it more, unfortunately. You just have to surround yourself with it. Read stuff in English a lot as well, I would say. Or you could read essays even. You could read people's essays. You get a sense of how they structure it, etc. So I'm just going to quickly add Kandika to the call. Imran, that was great. If you'd like to stick around, that'd be brilliant, because then we can do that. You argue your point, he argues his, if you feel comfortable to do that. So I'm going to add Kandika in.
I'll be very happy.
Yeah, great. So I'm going to add Kandika in quickly. So hello, welcome to the call. And I just wanted to well, first of all, Kandika, where are you from?
Okay, well, thank you so very much. I'm from in Bangladesh. Okay.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm from yeah.
Great. So yeah, I think a lot of people on our page are from Bangladesh, so that's great. So I was wondering, what are kind of your opinions about social media, first of all, Kandika? Because what I kind of wanted to do, if you felt comfortable, was for you to kind of argue the reasons of social media being good, and for Imran to argue some reasons why it's bad. And just to and then I'll kind of give you guys some feedback on it and tell you kind of what you did well, etc. If you felt comfortable to do that. So I was wondering, Kandika, can you maybe give me some kind of good points for social media? like some things that are particularly good about it, and then that could form part of your argument.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much, my dear
Yeah, no worries.
respected teacher. I think social media, we social media are interactive the technologies that allow the creations or a sharing or exchange of a lot of information and ideas, career or interesting and other forms of expression, right? And a lot the via or virtual communities and networks and social media. I think a lot of the people does every single day does use social media or interactive web. They interact the base a lot of the apps. Thus, I know that because it is. So I can believe that it is a refers to the means of interactions among people in which they create the share and a lot of ideas, right? I think it is the communications and marketing, the manage the main Facebook, the Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and a lot of YouTube accounts. A lot of that's your the apps every single day. A lot of the people use for just need to how can because I know that the social media a lot of it is very essential for all the people's life because I know it is just technology systems because I know that and for example right now thus I'm talking just I got just now I'm getting this opportunity just it is social media these apps just do meeting right or Facebook a lot of the apps because that's I'm using and it is networking I know that and a lot of I think okay the Facebook WhatsApp and WeChat QZoom and a lot of have social media every single day. This is the easy, the largest social media networking site in the world and one of the most widely used. I know that. So actually, it's my opinion because I am really with this your site because I have no lot of idea. So that's now actually. So please pardon me. I know that a lot of the grammatical, a lot of the sentence making, and my pronunciation right a lot of errors. I know, so that's I'm trying to. I because okay. That's it. It's my opinion. The social
Great,
media. Okay.
mate. That's perfect. That's perfect. So you've got loads of stuff in there, loads of ideas. What I would advise to you, yeah, if you wanted to plan, if you were going to plan that at the start, you could write all those ideas down really quick. 3 little bullet points, write them all down quickly. And then when you're in the exam, you can process them better and you can refer back to them and get all those ideas you've got out there because you've got loads of good ideas about social media. So that's what you want to do in the exam. Adapt to the exam, give all these different ideas. So Gomez just says, may I know what is the topic? So good to see you again on the stream. The topic is basically social media. So whether social media is good or bad, because that's what the writing task 2 question is. You have to kind of argue for something being good, argue for something being bad, and then give your overall opinion. So basically what we're doing right now is Kandika's said some opinions why social media is really good. And Imran's going to just argue back for us and say some reasons why it could be bad. And then we've got that sense of debate. And that's what you're going to be wanting to do yourself in your essays. You have a debate with yourself. The first paragraph, you say, well, it's good. So first paragraph, you be Kandika. Second paragraph, you be Imran. And then you give a kind of conclusion afterwards. So Imran, I was wondering if you could just kind of say some bad points about social media. So maybe 2 or 3, doesn't have to be long, just whatever you feel.
First of all, thank you very much. My I'm not saying opponent, but yeah, but 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 I think the main fact is what's important about our life. We use the social media. We need to understand the perspective of social media. The amount of bullying that's happening in the social media, which is called cyberbullying, you can see that how people use the bad languages that you cannot control them. Like if somebody posts their pictures, and it's affect your mental health, which is really bad. And the second point that I want to share with you, that is the blind. It's a kind of a blind system to believe anyone. It's not the appropriate media to actually believe with somebody and talk to with somebody, because it's an unknown person. You don't understand. You cannot find it's a fake ID or it's a real ID. So it's a
Exactly.
kind of a thing that we need to if we actually solve those kind of a problem, because first of all we have to think about our life, which is more important than the marketing and whatever what we can use social media as a marketing stuff or whatever you can say. But we have to think about our first about our life. Is that a secure media to save our life, or is that a media that's it also give the negative pressure to the people? Like it is a kind of tools that you have to express yourself, how much you are talented, how much you are good at this and that photography and this, which is not even truly a really important thing about your life. So I think I think for myself, this 2 point is really, really, this 2 point is always kind of stuck my head, which is, which actually less, which is give the less importance about marketing, about the, how we can, about the other stuff that's people normally say. So for me, it's about how much I feel safe to talk with somebody, especially in the social media. If the social media is really faithful faithful medium as a when it's connect to other person. So
Hmm.
that's I think that's why I'm not really agree with I don't see his name, but if I see, probably it's a good for me, but I don't see. So that's why I'm not agree with him. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, that's great. Well done. I think both of you got really good answers. If you two came together, you'd create an amazing essay, I'm sure, and then you could reach a conclusion afterwards and kind of give your overall opinion. So, obviously, although I've kind of done it where I want Kandika arguing the good points, Imran arguing the bad points, in your essays, you want to be balanced. You want to be considering both the viewpoints. And so, yeah, rephrasing the question in your intro, setting yourself up for your argument up, and then giving all these different opinions you guys have got. You guys have got so many opinions on it, which is great. It's exactly what you want. You want lots of different stuff to be talking about. And so I think you've kind of really given a lot of really good pros and cons there. So Kandika's left, but no problem. He answered the questions really well. And yeah, that's what you want. You want so much stuff to be talking about. But you don't have to say everything you know about social media. Keep it quite short and concise. Maybe write down 2 or 3 good points, 2 or 3 bad points, and then use your language to explain them in more detail. And so yeah, I think you guys both did really well. I was wondering if anyone had any further questions, because I feel like we've covered the stuff today. We've gone over, how you might do writing task 2. We've also had some live interaction as well. So Imran, I'm just wondering, have you done many kind of past papers? Have you done many writing task 2 actual questions before? Have you sat down, tried to do them?
Yeah, I did, uh, but uh, but I didn't get the good number. That's one of the things. That's
Yeah,
all I worried about it, because probably I mean I'll try to give us exam. I don't know, probably after 2 or 1 month later.
yeah.
So right now I'm really focused about my writing, how I should improve, and what's the kind of
Yeah,
area
I think
I should.
writing is definitely one of the harder components. I think you can really train yourself though. You can, if you really understand, how to answer these questions. So to rephrase in your intro, rephrase the question. To outline your argument, supporting paragraph 1, supporting paragraph 2, conclusion. If you kind of have this structure in your mind, It will help you for your essays. And your English is really good. Your spoken English is great. So there's really no reason
Like
why
the
you
problem I can, I mean, if you don't mind, can I talk about the weak area about writing, like
sure.
the sentence structure? It's a little bit difficult for me
You mean
to
grammatical
write it.
structures?
Yeah,
Mhm.
grammatical structure is a little bit difficult. I mean, I understand the past tense, future tense, whatever you can say, but the problem is like even in the present tense, I mean, simple sentence that is really hard for me to understand. Even I don't understand the meaning, of course, because last time I actually read the poem that was written by John Milton on my blindness, on his blindness. So like even it's a very, I mean, even it's a simple sentence, but it's a bit difficult for me to understand and find out the actually what he want to say on that sentence. That's
Mhm.
the kind of struggle. So when I try to make my sentence on their structure, then like then the every stuff is going messy to me. So that's the kind of problem I face like for a long time and
Sure.
try to work on that phase. Let's see
Yeah.
what's happening in the
So,
future.
I will cover some content on grammatical structures on the page because I feel like that's probably kind of one of the last elements of language you really refine
Yeah,
because, yeah, it's one that you want to avoid it, don't you, when you're learning language? And so I feel like it's something that over time you will get to know better. I feel like you should maybe try read some academic articles and like research papers
yeah,
because writing task 2 is pretty much a mock of proper research papers. You get 250 words. Research papers might be 10,000 words or something, but
but the
you
problem
can.
is when I started to reading, and then I after couple of minutes, couple of let's say half an hour, then my interest is going very down because
Yeah,
oh god, I don't understand what's in the first day, right? And even
exactly.
if you understand the 70%, but the 30% that you don't understand, that is okay, that's might be something I didn't understand in the first paragraph, so I can't understand right now here.
Yeah, of
So that's the
course.
kind of thing. It's a lit. I mean, I find this very hard for me to like cope up
Sure.
with those kind of a problem.
I feel like what might be quite helpful, just thinking about it now, if you think it wouldn't be helpful, that's fine to say. But I thought maybe what would be helpful is like if I kind of got up a kind of academic study and I read through it together on the page, said what stuff means. Anyone can say, stuff they don't know, or I feel like that would be helpful because also in academic works is like just good phrases for writing task 2, good ways of linking their argument, their ideas, conclusions, always very kind of concise and good in research papers. It's something they work on a lot. And yeah, I understand about clauses, about sentence structures. So in your written work, you don't really want to be using many simple structures. You want to be using more kind of compound structures. I don't know if you're familiar with compound structures,
Yeah,
but
yeah, familiar
yeah,
with that.
that just when you have, like a but or an and kind of conjunction. And so you're just expanding on your ideas. Complex clauses as well. You want to try get some of those in. Complex clauses, I don't know if you know what they are. Do you know what complex clauses
A
are?
little bit complex. Yeah, I'm not sure, but
Yeah, they're basically where you have kind of a dependent clause and an independent clause. So
okay.
a dependent clause would not make sense on its own. So, for
Yeah,
example, if I said the sentence, um, despite connection problems, Imran has joined the call.
yeah.
So, despite connection problems, that on its own makes no sense. That's not a sentence.
Okay.
So that's the dependent clause. So it needs the independent clause, which is Imran has joined the call. So you want to use complex sentence structures like that. Say stuff like, despite social media use being so common, comma, there are many problems with it. And using that clause at the start, that doesn't make sense on its own, but it makes sense with something else, that adds something extra onto your work. And I know for a fact that's something that examiners love in IELTS. when you use complex clauses. So you say, despite social media use being so common, there are so many problems for it in our society. That's a lot better than if you were to just say, social media use is very common, full stop. There are some problems with it. You linking these ideas together is really effective for your written work. And yeah, definitely something I'll go over in more detail, because that's really kind of a higher band skill when you can use these different sentence structures effectively, because they really help you argue your points as well. But guys, or Imran, if you have any other questions, feel free. But guys, I was just wondering if
Is
anyone has questions as well.
so what's I mean, would you like to tell me your class time that I can join?
Yeah, so basically, I'm going to be doing these live streams at 2 p.m. There's another one tomorrow at 2 p.m. Well, 2 p.m. UK time. So I think in Bangladesh that might be 7 p.m., but don't quote me on that. What time is it in Bangladesh right now?
It's 8:30 p.m. Like
Okay,
8:30.
perfect. So yeah, it would be 7 p.m. Bangladesh time then. So we must be, I think we're 5 hours behind you guys. So 2 p.m. GMT plus 1 time. It's our time zone here. That would be about 7 p.m. Bangladesh time. And I'm going to be doing these calls most days in the week. There will be an event schedule up soon, where you can see when they're on. But definitely tomorrow at 2 p.m. or 7 p.m. where you are. Thursday, there'll be another one at the same time. Then there'll be one on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday again. So Monday through to Thursday at 2 p.m. UK time, we'll be having more. And yeah, if you want to, thanks so much for jumping on the call. If you want to do it again, that'd be great, because you're just continually improving your English live and for free. It's something you don't want to turn down. Maybe.
I mean, it's really amazing things to like. I think it's a great. The person who actually made the argument, it's a great point that we had a.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was starting this thing today, and I was thinking about bad reasons for social media, because I'm quite negative about social media, I feel. So I was thinking about all these bad points, and then I was suddenly like, well, without social media, I literally couldn't talk to you guys right now. So it's like there's an obvious big use of it as well. But I definitely think interacting with live speakers is how you improve it, because I had a friend at uni, he was Romanian. He joined, I think, in the first year. His English was decent. It was okay. But then by the time he left in the third year, we watched a video of him in the first year speaking, and we were like, what? Like, just from being around us and talking to us, even though we're probably talking absolute rubbish, he improved his English a lot.
Yeah, I tried a couple of group that so we can talk or probably, but it's a little bit hard for people normally try to want to friend from a different those people who are a native speaker. It's a kind of they kind of ignore us, so it's a little difficult for us to actually join with them. But this is the kind of opportunity that I got. I'm really thankful to God. That's a
great.
I can.
Perfect, mate. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. It takes some confidence to come on and speak in front of everyone. So massive respect for that. I'm probably going to end this here now, guys, unless anyone's got any more questions. I'll be on tomorrow at 2 p.m. again as well. If you want to join, I'll prepare a PowerPoint. Basically, I'll talk you through some kind of exam techniques. And, then at the end, towards the end, or whenever you guys want to, you can jump in the call. We can have a chat. That'll improve your speaking, your listening without even trying, just from talking. And then the actual more kind of technical exam technique stuff is what I'll kind of walk us through in the lessons. And there will be a course starting from the 25th of July where I'll be going over more kind of intense exam technique. So Shauna just quickly says, I hope I've said your name right, my friend. He says, where are you from? Well, I'm from Liverpool, so we are Merseyside Publishing. Merseyside is where Liverpool is.
Yeah, love
I
Liverpool.
love Liverpool. I love Liverpool. I support Liverpool Football Club as well. I'm obsessed with football. So if anyone loves football, you can jump on the call and talk to me about that. Hopefully, I don't talk about it too much, but yeah, I'm from Liverpool, and I've studied here at university for the last few years. Great city, great culture. I would recommend this. I'm obviously biased, but I would recommend Liverpool as a place to study for just about anyone. It's a brilliant city, friendly people, you know. Um, so, Shauna, where are you from? I mean, I know so many people are from Bangladesh. We had someone from Ghana as well. It's really interesting for me to be able to, talk to all these people so far away. But yeah, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I'm probably going to end this here, and we can meet again tomorrow at 2 p.m. And he says, "Am I a copite?" Yes, I'm a copite. I've never sat in the cop, so if anyone knows what a copite is, that's like Liverpool slang for someone that supports Liverpool. I never sat in the cop, which is like behind the goal. It's really famous kind of place to sit. But yeah, massive respect, mate. There's so many Liverpool fans, I swear, which I love to see. I've not had any United fans on stream so far, which is great. I'm just joking. If you're not Sport United, you can come on with me as well. I might have to rip into you a bit though. I'm Scouse from Rwanda. That's amazing. Yeah, we've got so many fans from all around the world. I love that. Liverpool's since we've become so much more popular as well last few years. I just love that. And yeah, mate, you need to come to Liverpool. You need to see Anfield and the Kop, and you need to definitely make that your top priority.
You never walk alone.
Huh?
You never walk alone. Probably.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the kind of thing. I mean, I really love to. If I had a chance to go up, if I had a chance to, go there, I'll try. But
Yeah.
I love Liverpool, especially the last game in UCL. I mean, yeah, it was against the Barcelona.
Oh man, yeah, that game was incredible. That game was amazing. Honestly, that game was one of the best nights of my life. I'm not even joking. Like, I watched it in a pub in Liverpool city centre, right in the centre, and literally by the end of the game, everyone had their tops off. They were just hugging random people and like just going crazy. So it was amazing. We were 4-0 down in the first leg. The game started. We scored. I think it was Henderson or Origi, maybe. We scored in the first kind of 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. And you really felt in the pub that everyone kind of believed when that happened. And it's just an amazing feeling, like total euphoria.
One of the best. We have a couple of group of people that's a big Liverpool fan, so we actually set up a big like a projector to see this game, and like it was like, everybody was goosebumps, especially the last goal that was happened is Alexander, who is a really great player, of course.
Oh yeah, the corner is insane. I didn't see it happen. I looked away and I just heard everyone celebrate, and I was just started celebrating as well.
I mean, nobody was like not even on that mood. Like, the third goal was just happened, and the fourth goal is so quick, so we don't even enjoy the third goal.
It's incredible. I mean, yeah, they had Messi, Suarez, all these guys, and yeah, we did amazing. This year we had so many injuries, so we didn't do as well. But I'm hoping next year we'll start again. Hopefully we'll be in the Champions League final again.
Good. I heard that's about the news that probably Salah will go away from Liverpool. Is that?
Oh, I don't think so. I would be so upset. Honestly, I would be devastated if he left.
Egyptian king.
But you can't predict these things. I mean, I've always liked players, and they just end up leaving. Like Suarez. He's not the best guy, Luis Suarez. I wouldn't say. He's quite a problematic character. But when he played for us, he was freakishly amazing. Like he would do stuff out of nowhere, like he'd nutmeg someone, which I don't know if you know the word nutmeg in Bangladesh.
Yeah, nutmeg. It's I mean between two leg, you
Leg.
have to pass in the. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Suarez
okay.
would do that so often. He'd fake that he was going to shoot. He just put it through your legs and bend it top corner. So he was incredible. But then he just left to Barcelona, and I was like, "What are you doing?" But it happens. I'm hoping Salah and Mane stay, but we'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see.
I think Salah is a great asset for the Liverpool, and also
Yeah.
and
So,
Mane is also like that.
of
So
course, you need to come and watch a game. You need to, because it's just the best feeling ever. Watching us play. When they
yeah,
score a goal as well, it's just amazing atmosphere. So Ui Anganye, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, mate. Please tell me if I'm not. I don't want to do it wrong a second time if I am. He says, please give us some links to follow you. Yeah, so I'll be doing these pretty much 2 p.m. most days. And except Fridays. I think next week I'm doing Monday 2 p.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday 2 p.m. And also from the 25th there'll be another course where I will go over exam technique and stuff like this. But yeah, if you want to jump on the call next time, we can have a chat about Liverpool, whatever you want to talk about. Suarez upset me for his leaving. Me too, my friend. Me too. But it happens. We're better off without him. We won the Champions League against him as well for Barcelona. So what goes around comes around. But yeah, guys, I'm going to leave this here. Imran, thank you so much, mate, for joining.
thank you very much.
Any of you want to join the call next time? That'd be great. But for today, I'm going to sign out. But thank you all for joining.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers, mate. If you've got any questions, send them my way. I'll answer them straight away. Any questions about writing tasks, anything you want. But yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow at 2 p.m. So great. See you guys soon.